I have a tip for all you.
Well, I really don't want to listen to this because it's coming out of one ear. How long is this? Let's hear this.
Ladies out there who are going to parties, college, whatever, you're going out this weekend, you're dressing up. Do not, and I repeat, do not base your costume on whether your boyfriend is going to get mad at you or not. Wearing a costume that shows a lot of skin is not cheating on your boyfriend, okay? What the fuck? Wear whatever you want, and if he doesn't like it, he's insecure and you should dump his ass, okay? So enjoy your weekend, wear whatever you want, and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, I understand the insecure bit or whatever. I don't know where I would exactly pin it. I'm not sure if it is always insecurity or what have you when it comes to this. Not sure if I always pin it there. Because I just don't know. Like, all of the spectrum. I haven't thought about the spectrum of feelings. Why you could do such things, what have you. But I would say that, like, in general, yeah, you just do what you want. Wear what you want. Like, don't compromise stuff like what you wear or, like, a relationship that you're in. If you value that shit. If you don't, then you fucking don't. But be sure you know whether or not you value it. Like I don't know. If my girlfriend didn't want me to wear X, Y, and Z thing in public, it depends on the reason, right? And I think that's the core component of this. What is the reason for, like, this or that or what have you? If you're like a culturally conservative person, or labeled yourself as a culturally conservative person, like that's what you broadcasted yourself as, I see, like, I don't know if I'd call that insecurity or what have you. Like, maybe, I guess you could, I don't know, maybe they're religious shit. I don't know, it gets really sticky when we're talking about insecurity. I don't fucking know about that shit. I don't think it necessarily makes you insecure if you're, like, religious. You know? I don't know. Or, like, culturally conservative and that's the fucking shit. I don't know. Yeah. It really does depend. Just wear what you want if it's a big deal to you. It would be my argument. If you call that insecurity, don't you have to concede that every facet of exclusivity in a relationship is based on insecurity? Aside from health-related stuff? I mean, most of it, but not necessarily. So a better thing I would probably label it as would be possessiveness. And I would say in a lot of instances, yeah. Like, for instance, monogamy is a pretty possessive thing. There's not really a good reason why your partner can't fuck other people. There's not really a good reason why your partner can't date other people. It's just you're being possessive of them. You know, that's what it is. You're just possessive. So yeah, I would say, but, like, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad. It's technically possessive because you just want, like, them to only date you, only have sex with you. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just kind of weird. I feel like I don't feel like it's as simple as insecure shit. I think what would be insecure is if it's like they're cool with you wearing that shit when you aren't dating them, because like that's part of the reason why they approached you is because you're wearing that shit and they think it's really hot, and as soon as they're in a relationship with you, they tell you to take it off. That's where it's like, okay, dude, this is a bit weird. But if they're like a culturally conservative person, like, hey, I think it's pretty cringe you're wearing this shit. And then you, like, get in a relationship. I mean, it is what it is. It's what it is. What if it's an ugly ass costume and you don't want to be seen with a shit fit partner? Oh, then fuck yeah. Like, that's what I kind of mean, man. It's like, I feel like there's implications, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it could be that way. I mean, I know my girlfriend has done the same to me, and I've done the same to her. Where it's like, just straight up, like, yo, that shit looks like trash. Like, you look like a hipster, for sure. That shit looks like garbage. And then she'll be like, oh, fuck, I think you're right. And then she's done the same thing with me when it comes to my fucking 13-year-old shirts. And be like, that shirt is fucking dusty. And I'll be like, pretty weak. So, yep, happens. Something wrong with hipsters? Fuck yeah. You just look like you smoke too much, and all you fucks do. Be cool and just play video games like me. I don't know why you'd be weird and smoke. Destiny reacts to bizarre Jesse Lee Peterson interview with Fanatic. Nice. Nice meme. Who is your crush? 100 teens? Is it just naming the crush? Wait, what is this? How it started? How it's going? You cringe, you lose. Woke SJW.
You guys, it's time to start making some changes, okay?
How do these things get 600,000 views still?
We can make this world...
But if it makes your partner uncomfortable / insecure, wouldn't you want to respect that? It depends on the reason why, right? Like, if my partner is insecure about what I wear, right, you have to ask why. You have to analyze why. And if it's not a good reason and one that I believe is justified, then so be it. But if my partner's like, let's say like unironically, I put on weight, I have some decent muscles, and my partner, like my girlfriend says she doesn't want me like leaving the house in like short sleeves or what have you. I don't really care. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I won't really care. I'm not super attached to. Wouldn't be well. Maybe I would be. I guess maybe if I exercised or what have you. But I don't really care. If, like she's insecure about that, I don't really care. I see that as very similar to like the possessiveness. Possessiveness that's innate with like I don't know, provocative behavior even. Like if I'm I don't know, or like exclusively having sex or whatever, like I don't know, I've been pretty black pilled on the possessive nature of like monogamous relationships, and it's not really lost on me. If I'm asking somebody to be in a monogamous relationship, I'm doing that pretty selfishly. Like I'm saying like you cannot fuck other people, you can't flirt with other people, you can't be flirty with other people, maybe. It depends on if you do that. And like you can only have sex with or be romantic with me, ever. It's like that's a pretty fucking like possessive thing to do. Like, I don't know. You're already being pretty possessive. I don't really see that as massively over that.
A better place.
What do you mean with you don't care? You're doing it? No? Yeah, but I don't really care enough to like, it's like not that big of a deal to me. For instance, like, I think that this shit looks good. This thing that I'm wearing right now. If I had to wear shit like this for the rest of my life, I'm game. Sometimes I get a short sleeve shirt just because I'm fucking lazy. I want to get a short sleeve fucking shirt. If I was more into fashion, if I was more into the way that I looked and like curating the way that I looked, I might care. Right? I might care a little more, but I just don't. Isn't the monogamy standard / normal? It's standard and normal, but that doesn't mean that it's not possessive. Being flirty with other people is totally fine. I disagree. The issue is that people are R-words and they'll jump from flirting to other stuff. Oh, you're talking about in a vacuum? Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, 100%. Sure. Like in a vacuum. But I would also argue in a vacuum, fucking another person isn't that big of a deal. Like, who cares? If your girlfriend fucks another person, who cares? Like, unironically, make a legitimate argument why the fuck you should care. Like, do that right now without sounding possessive as fuck. Well, because I don't want other dudes to fuck my girlfriend. This is just possessive. Why not? Why not? Legitimately, why not? If they weren't your girlfriend, you'd be cool with them. Like, why not? Just like, you can't do it. You're just being selfish. That's what it is. You have to face that reality. You're just being selfish. You just don't want them to because you don't want somebody else piping down your girl. STDs, that's such a bullshit. You can have sex safely, right? They've been doing it before you. Are you only going to look for women that have never had sex before? Because guess what? Breaking news, if your girlfriend has had sex before you, there's that same chance for STDs. The fuck you mean? What's wrong with being possessive, though? I don't think there's anything wrong with being possessive. I don't. But the way that possessive manifests can be pretty wrong, right? It depends on the way you're being possessive over the way that somebody wears shit. I don't think intrinsically making the comment that somebody should change the way that they dress is intrinsically bad being negatively possessive. Like, I don't think it's intrinsically bad. It depends on how much your partner cares about what they're wearing. Again, like my girlfriend goes out in like a really stupid looking hat, and I know for a fact my girlfriend doesn't give a fuck about what she wears. She's gonna matter a lot more if I say, yeah, take that fucking shit off, it looks ridiculous, so that way she doesn't get shamed or mocked in public for something she doesn't really even give a fuck about. But if she cares a lot about appearing a specific way and that fashion and shit like that, then I'm not gonna tell her what the fuck to do. She can do whatever the fuck she wants to do. But otherwise, like, that's the way that it is. It depends on, like, the level of shit that people care about. Just like how if I had a girlfriend that was super, super into non-monogamy, like was not monogamous or what have you, I wouldn't get super possessive and be like, you have to do this. No, the fact of the matter is I'm with somebody who, like, is in the opposite direction, cares a super ton about being monogamous or whatever. I think people are finding trouble understanding that we are all taking for granted that monogamous relationships are based on some form of passion, but linking it with the word, possession. But linking it with the word possession is confusing, chat. I have no idea why. That's ultimately what it is. Do you think that people buy exclusive shit because we are insecure? Nope. No, I don't think so. I think you can be possessive without being insecure. I think all of that shit can happen without being insecure. This is why I don't think possessiveness is intrinsically bad, right? Nor do I actually even think insecurity is intrinsically bad, even if it was the case, to be honest. I think you should hopefully strive to not be insecure because you should be cool with whatever the fuck is happening. It can be. It's mutually beneficial to be able to build to both trust that you're having a partner for the long term. Otherwise, if her other boyfriend moves and she goes with you, you could die alone. Or if the girlfriend moves and you go with, she could die alone. The same thing can happen even if they aren't in a partnership with another person, right? If you're in a relationship with somebody and then, like, your partner's having doubts as to whether or not you're, like, the long-term prospects of that's, like, sucks pretty bad. And what you're saying is ultimately you don't want your girlfriend to date other people because you think that your girlfriend is going to be more satisfied in a different relationship than with you, which is the definition of possessive. And in, like, controlling that. Like, if your girlfriend is more happy than with another dude, sorry, you lost, homie. Take that L. She's happy with another dude. That's on you. Wait, then it's bad if we shouldn't be insecure, right? Not necessarily, no. Just because we shouldn't generally strive towards something, or we should strive towards something not being the case, doesn't mean that it's bad to do that. For instance, I don't think it's bad to be sad, right? But I think that generally speaking, we should minimize sadness in our life. Does that make sense? It's a trade which is not possessive. What are you trading is what you're asking. What about sneaking calories to a partner to make her fat in an attempt to prevent breakup or new person taking her? Is that toxic possessiveness? I'm assuming you're fucking memeing, because that's just about one of the most heinous shit I've ever heard in such a long time, dude. That's some fucking weird ass shit, homie. They might not be more happy with another dude, but they might like some aspects of that other dude more, which will dilute your relationship. So be it. They're more happy with that. Kiwi, what you're describing is somebody is more happy. You have to make sure your girlfriend isn't around other people, so that way you can maintain as much of a relationship with that person as possible, because you're afraid that if they get in a relationship with anybody or hang out with other people, they're going to like you less. That's what you're saying. I need to keep control over this person or possessiveness over this person, because otherwise if they hang out with other people, they might realize that I'm not as good as, like, some other people are in X and Y and Z respect. That's possessive. There's not, like, I don't know how are you trying to get around this? That's possessive. Like, I don't know what you're trying to say. You're literally afraid that somebody else is going to realize you're not it. You're not all that it is. You ain't that special. That's what you're saying. That's literally what you're saying. What about slipping PEDs into your partner's meals to get the better body because you're insecure yourself because your girlfriend put on weight? Gotta get them gains. I'm assuming you're memeing. Don't do that. Being insecure or possessive have bad connotations. I agree. It sounds like you were saying we shouldn't be monogamous because the reasons we are bad. I'm sorry that I understand that it definitely has those implications. But at the end of the day, that's what it is, right? You are essentially saying, I am afraid for my partner to be able to engage in a friendship or a dialogue with another person because they are going to pick another person over me. Cool. So what you care about isn't your partner's satisfaction. You care about your satisfaction, that knowing that your partner only wants you. That's what you care about. There is not really a way I have ever seen around it. Not saying it's not possessive, just that it makes a 50-long-year relationship worse rather than better. For you, maybe for your partner, it's better, or maybe for both, it's better, right? I'm, for instance, somebody that is saying all these things. I'm in a monogamous relationship, right? So possessiveness is a one-sided deal, bro. If that's a reciprocal relationship, then it's not possessive. It's interdependency. No, that's not, wait, this is just simply not true. What do you mean? You could both be possessive of each other. Interdependency isn't like, wait, in interdependency, you are making the assumption that that's good. You can have interdependency and have it be bad. What do you mean? Like, I don't know why you're running away from this. If what you're saying is you don't want your girlfriend to have friends or to talk to other dudes because you're afraid that she's going to pick another dude over you, I'm sorry, homie. That's a bit possessive. I don't know what to tell you. You're a bit insecure about your fucking shit. I don't know what to fucking tell you, bro. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. Like, I don't understand what the fuck this is. Maybe you have an issue with the negative connotations. I understand that. I had issues with that. But you got to grapple with that shit. You're a grown-ass adult, I'm assuming. All right? You're a fucking adult. You pay taxes. Act like it. Act like it. Codependency is bad, but interdependency is good. All right, so you're just fucking throwing shit out there. You getting the two mixed up? Sure, buddy. This isn't about liking other people more or less. It's about exclusively adding value to other people. And it works for both parts. No, it isn't. Why? Gamers, give me one reason why. We might have to Discord this up. Give me one reason why I should be upset at other dudes fucking my girlfriend. One legitimate reason. Let's assume it. Let's assume that I'm okay with that. And I'm not monogamous or whatever. And what is one good reason? Legitimate reason. Like, they just her, they move on. So who cares? Genuinely, who the fuck cares? Who cares? Like, if a guy gets jealous when his girlfriend is wearing a skimpy outfit and gets attention by guys all the time, shouldn't the girl take that into consideration if she wants a healthy? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't think that the dude should just bottle that shit up. Fuck that. You should let her know. Like, if that's the position that you're in, you should let that person know. Because, like, otherwise it's probably going to boil up into a different thing. Lowering the libido in your relationship? What do you mean lowering the libido in your relationship? Who the fuck cares? If your partner wants to fuck other people, decides that it is more satisfactory from their own human perspective to be able to fuck other people, what is wrong with that? Why would you control that? Why would you want that to stop? Why wouldn't you give them the freedom in this relationship to be able to do what they want? If they want to fuck somebody else of their own cognitive volition, why wouldn't you allow them to do that? Why are you saying that they can't do that? Sure, get me in Discord, sure. The dude might delete your XCOM save, true. I don't think chat realizes you're talking about in a vacuum that human reasoning for wanting exclusive access to a person is illogical in a vacuum. No, it's not even in a vacuum. It's in reality, like you absolutely are being possessive. That's my point. You're being possessive. Not necessarily that it's illogical. I don't think it's illogical to want to be in a monogamous relationship. I'm in that same position. It's just that you are being possessive. That's just the reality. I thought we were talking about exclusive monogamous relationships. Yeah, and I'm saying the reason why we want these things are ultimately because of a sense of possessiveness. I want the person that I am with ultimately to have sex with or to be around exclusively me. That's ultimately the reason why. You can, but then you're not in a mono relationship. Right, you're not in a mono relationship. What I'm saying is your desire for a mono relationship is going to stem from possessiveness because there isn't any reason to not have your partner fuck anybody else. Your reason ultimately is because you don't want somebody else with better dick game to come through and then fuck your girlfriend as much as like you want to. Let's see. Hello.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. What's up? Can you not hear me?
Okay, sorry, I'm back. Sorry.
All right, what's up?
So here's the basic argument.
Yeah, what's up?
It goes a little something like this. So first we say, okay, you have two people and they both agree that exclusivity matters for them both. So
Yep.
they're happy in relationship together,
Yep.
but they decide that that exclusively having sex with that one person adds value to sex because
Sure.
it's just like, for example, a designer shoe. If it's special just for you and only you can have it, it adds value to it exclusively.
Sure.
We can extend that same argument to sex, for example.
Okay.
I think that's a one-to-one comparison. So there's nothing
Okay.
wrong if there's nothing wrong and if one person decides to have sex with someone else outside the relationship, unless they have a previous agreement to say, okay, let's not do this because it adds value to my experience if this relationship is exclusive, and it adds value to your relationship as well, or at least you
Okay.
say that it does.
Okay.
So that's kind of
Okay,
and I
so
don't think there's any
my question
insecurity
just
in
for
that.
all, no, my question, I'm not saying anything is insecurity. What I'm saying is it's possessiveness. So there's a big difference here. And maybe you're just running with the interpretation that they're one and the same or what have you. And I could clarify anything else that you might wish. But what I'm saying is, like, in relation to the monogamous relationship, is why do you want a monogamous relationship specifically? You said that because you want exclusive access. Why do you want exclusive access to this person? If this person wants to be able to fuck somebody else and they decide that that is better for them, why not let them? Like, let's say you have a monogamous relationship for 10 years, all right? And y'all are getting along fine. The person then walks up to you and says, yeah, I want to open up, like, I want to be able to fuck other people and shit like that. Do you agree that you would be being possessive? It's not bad, but do you agree that you would be being possessive to say, I do not want you to engage in an action that you have recognized to bring you greater happiness because it will result in my lowered happiness? Is that not the definition of being possessive?
No. So the reason why you are in a relationship is because it brings you happiness, right?
Yeah?
And so basically, what I'm saying is, okay, I'm going to be in a relationship with you, and one of the pretenses for that is,
I'm
how do I
not saying the
explain it?
boundaries are bad. Because
Right?
what you're getting at is that you're trying to make the claim I'm saying that the boundaries are bad. There is nothing wrong with ending a relationship in which you agreed that it was monogamous and that the person that you're engaging with no longer wants it to be monogamous or never wanted it to be monogamous and is trying to get in a relationship with you under deception. There is nothing wrong with that. However, how is it not possessive for me as an individual to say, I recognize that you wish to engage in an activity that you believe will incur you greater happiness in your life. And I don't want you to engage in that in that action because it would further my happiness.
So I don't think there's that that valuing designer sneakers because they are designer is possessive. Do you disagree with that?
Well, that's
Or
not,
at
no,
least
just answer my question. Answer my question. How is that not possessive? In what world is that not? Answer the question. It's just, I posed that to
that's
you.
how something is not something. I don't think
Yes,
it
you
is.
can. No,
have
you.
to-
Yes. Okay, so it is possessive because you are saying that somebody can. What is your definition of possessive?
What is my definition of
Yeah.
possessive?
What is your definition of possessive?
Let's think about it. Well, it will be something like I don't
If I did the
want
word
to.
selfish, would that do better for you? It is selfish for me to say that I want my partner to not engage in an activity that they recognize will cause them greater happiness. In exchange, I wish to engage in an act, and just so that way I can be more happy in the relationship. Would you say that? That's selfish?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, so then it's selfish. We were just misusing words. It's selfish, but there's nothing wrong with that. You should set good boundaries. You should set good standards so you're not just getting fucked over in relationships. But if you don't care very much about it, that doesn't stop it from being selfish. It's still selfish if I say, hey, I don't want my girlfriend to go out in this crazy, like, 1350s hat that's like the size of a person on her head. I don't really want her to go outside with that on her head. If she doesn't really care about it, it still is possessive, but it's not really that big of a deal to her, so we make the concession because maybe it is a little bit more of a deal to me. So it's like, hey, whatever. We shake hands, we move on. It is a bit selfish because they decided they wanted to do that of their own volition. They just didn't care that much. I happen to care a little bit more, and they made that concession. It's not that big of a deal. All I'm saying is that is coming from some desire of me to say that you want to do something. You wish to engage into an action that you believe will maximize your happiness. And I am saying that will lower my happiness to a level where I no longer want you to do that action that you agree will maximize your happiness. And that is selfish or possessive, whatever you want to say. It is one of those things, but it might not be bad.
Maybe this is like a language barrier. Is possessive, it connects in my mind with like obsessive and things like that, something that's going overboard, right?
No, no, that's not a language barrier. I'd say that's often 99.99% of the case whenever people use that word. And that's a lot of the conflict that people have. And I've said it like 50 fucking times already. It is possessive or selfish, but it isn't bad. It is not bad to be selfish. It is not bad to be possessive. For instance, right, if I see a kid on the street dying, I have $100 in my fucking pocket, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I could give this kid $1 and get them a fucking cheeseburger. Nah, that's selfish. I don't think it's necessarily bad. You're looking out for yourself. You don't have a moral obligation to look out for that kid. You don't have a moral obligation to. It's not necessarily bad. You just keep fucking walking. It'd be cool if you did, but you have no moral obligation to be able to do that, right? There is things that you do that are selfish or self-centered or things that serve yourself at the expense of others that I don't necessarily think is bad because you don't have a moral obligation to do that. You have no moral obligation to be in a relationship with somebody that, for instance, doesn't want to respect monogamy, the monogamous nature of your boundaries. You have no moral responsibility to do so. So if they don't cave or make concessions on your requests for your boundaries, then fucking get that person out of your life. But at the end of the day, that is stemming from your self-desire to want to impose that idea, or more specifically, to have that kind of a restriction. And if the other person is not congruent with that restriction, you would end the relationship, right?
So I'm just confused because do you think all possessiveness stems from insecurity?
No. No.
So why do you think, for example, why do you think, because we said, okay, possessiveness is when having something exclusively adds value to it, and because it adds value to it, if that value wasn't there, that exclusivity, if it wasn't there, then I wouldn't want that thing. Right.
Well, you could just like really rare things. There's nothing wrong with liking really rare, hard to obtain things. There's nothing insecure about that. I guess you could criticize the idea of why does it matter to you if other people have that thing. But I think it could just be that, like, the simple idea that you're one of the very few people that are able to have access to, like, let's say a wood carving by somebody who's been long dead. It could be really cool that there is one in the world of this thing and that you have access to it. You have a piece of history that exists that's very minimal, and that if everybody else had it, then it would just be like a normal everyday commodity. But what makes it special is that there was only one that this person had made in their life, and that's perfectly fine. I don't see anything that has to be insecure about that, nor do I think you have to be insecure to be in a monogamous relationship or what have you. However,
Possessive?
Yeah, I think you do have to be possessive. I do. Yeah, I think you have to be possessive in some way, shape, or form. I think there must be some measure of possessiveness. Now, whether or not you're acting on that possessiveness to be like intrude on the other party, probably not. More often than not, people who want monogamous relationships want to be in a relationship with somebody who wants a monogamous relationship, and you're not imposing that onto somebody who doesn't want to be in a monogamous relationship, right? So you're not having that push and pull. You kind of just agree, yeah, we should only fuck each other, we should only date each other, right? That's usually the case. However, that the reason why I give the previous argument is if that person changes, you would be stating that, like, this relationship that you have with them is insufficient
because they want to maximize their happiness. The only thing that changed is that they realized they would be more happy fucking other people. And what you're saying is, fuck that shit. I don't care if you're more happy fucking other people because I'm not happy with the idea that you're fucking other people. That's possessive at the end of at the root, whether that manifests or not. I don't think it's bad, but that's where it's coming from.
Because I'm not saying I'm not happy because you're happy. I'm saying I'm not happy because I'm not happy. And that's not stemming from their happiness. That's stemming from the loss of exclusivity.
No, I'm not. It doesn't matter how that manifests. At the end of the day, in order for them to maximize their happiness in relation to fucking other people, you would then become unhappy. Meaning that your active participation in how you're viewing this situation is if your partner tries to maximize their happiness, you therefore become unhappy in that arrangement. Not just because they're maximizing their happiness, but the way that they're choosing to maximize their happiness is ultimately at that thing, right? Is ultimately at play. And what you're saying is like, yeah, that's ultimately the reason why. And that's possessive, in my opinion.
Sure. Okay. So in like... in a roundabout way, I guess.
Yeah, it would be. It's just there's nothing wrong with that. We're talking about boundaries, right? To set a boundary is to be to some degree controlling, right? Because I'm saying that you cannot do X, Y, or Z. That is controlling. However, it's like not a bad thing, right? The problem is our view of controlling or possessiveness is really fucked. I am being really controlling when I tell my kid to not stick a fork in a fucking outlet. All right, that's what I am doing, but it's not a bad fucking thing. All right, in fact, it's a good thing that we ought to all do. Right, I am being controlling. I'm exercising control. I'm exercising some controlling nature when I'm doing that. Yeah, that's what happens. It's just we shouldn't view everything like this as a bad thing and just morally load all of this shit. Unless we want to use some weird other language, or weird other words that we want to use or what have you. But this is what the words were created and I think best appealed to what I'm referencing.
Sure. So I guess I'm just really not clear about the separation between possessiveness and insecurity.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Because, well, if I say some wood carving or whatever, and only I have it, right?
Yep.
It would be weird if, let's say, someone made a machine and said, "Hey, we can mass produce this wood carving so that everyone could have it."
Mm-hmm. I don't. Yeah, if what you're referencing is like, there isn't really a good reason to want anything. Sure, we can go down the nihilistic shit, but at the end of the day, that's where we're gonna go. Why? Yeah, why do you like it when you exclusively have one thing? I don't know. It makes me feel good. It seems to be like that unique piece of history or a unique piece of X, Y, and Z has some kind of internal thing with me that it's only like individually that way. I don't know, why do I like when my walls in my house are beige? Maybe it's just because I like that. I don't know. Like, you're getting to the root of why people like things innately, and that you're just gonna get into like, well, we shouldn't like anything, and like that. There might be something deeper. It might be because of insecurity. It might be because you feel special and unique, and that other people that you think that other people will view you as lesser if you don't own something that is very unique. Or maybe you just really like owning the one fucking, I don't know, Pokemon card that was made in a specific way, and that's just really fucking cool to you. And that's just like, I don't know, because when you were a kid, you watched a lot of shows that were esoteric, that had collectibles. Your fucking parents had collectibles around you, right? And we can run it down the fucking psychological rabbit hole if you'd like.
Sure. Yeah. By the way, when I said language barrier, it was because English is not my first language, so maybe I misunderstood something anyway.
No, yeah. I think your understanding of the word possessiveness is accurate. I think the problem is that possessiveness also includes something that we do not colloquially use as well, and that'd be what I was describing. I think the definition of the word possessiveness applies to this case I'm applying it to. However, the implication of the word possessiveness being a derogatory or negative thing is the issue that a lot of people are running into.
Sure. All right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, cool.
All right, sweet. Much love. See you later.
All right, bye.
All right, cool.
and one thing we can do.
I think you're right about this. I think chat just added was jaded when Vaush talked about this spicy topic a while back. Monogamy equals insecurity? Vaush argues with chat over monogamy?
I've lived the casual lifestyle and it's...
Oh no.
Nah bro, I've lived the casual
It
lifestyle.
sounds like you're trying to attach words onto it. No, that's what it is. What do you describe me setting a condition wherein which if you try to enact something that you believe maximizes your happiness with very little to literally no negative repercussion at all to me, like, so the people keep talking about STDs. If this was the case, if you were super afraid of this, right, and this was your, like, worry and shit like that, you could have your partner tested. Your partner could get tested after every instance. That could happen. You could get your partner tested. Or you could, you would be really upset if your partner's fucked a bunch of people before you. And if you're in that bin, I got a whole fucking line of argumentation for you prior to that. But yeah, like, that's what it is at the end of the day. Also, the idea that, like, people are not going to be susceptible to issues in a relationship. I'm not talking necessarily other situations outside of it. That's fine. I think technically fucking around a bit here and there, as long as it doesn't become a disruptive habit, is fine. Most people can't function that way, though, even though it's technically fine in a utopic sense. Don't know if you can suppress all of your primitive well, that's Kiwi. That's where I'm at. I'm in that bin. I've recognized more or less that, honestly, like, a more open relationship is pretty, like, goddamn poggers if you can fucking do it. Obviously, given a lot of other fucking bullshit and how it would actually practically go or what have you, but in the utopian sense, it's a really fucking based deal. There isn't really a good reason, in my opinion, that I would get upset with my girlfriend fucking another dude. Not really a good reason from my specific situation. I don't think there is. However, I do believe that, like, given my current situation that I am monogamous, it's not that big of a deal. It's not a problem. You know, I have another person that is down with monogamy. Why the fuck would I care? You know, it's not like I'm imposing my way of life on another person. I found another person who agrees with me. It's like saying, like, only dating people that crochet is really cringe. No, just find somebody who really likes fucking crochet and, you know, get down. Well, poly relationships are infinitely more complicated. Yo, I don't disagree. That they're really fucking complicated. But what I'm saying is the ability to be able to, like, understand that, like, or not understand, but, like, ultimately, the reason why I don't want, like, my girlfriend to fuck other people, what have you, is some chimp brain shit. It's just because it makes me feel bad. It makes my brain go, oof, it's me sad. Probably wouldn't occur if I grew up in a different culture or a different environment, but that's the case. It makes my chimp brain go, ooh, ooh, and it doesn't feel good. Right? I don't have, like, a legitimate, concrete reason why, right? I don't have the reason of, like, hey, if she fucks another person, she might like them more. And if she likes them more, she can date them. She can date them. I care, right? Like, she's more happy with that person. Why would I restrict her ability to be more happy? She thinks that she's looking out for the maximization of her well-being. I'm looking out for the maximization of mine. I care. Dude, simple way to deal with this is ask her for threesomes. True. What if you took the level of exclusivity to another level and agreed that both of you are not allowed to talk to the opposite sex? I'd say that just gets into a level of impracticality. Like, that's just not practical, right? This reminds me of the same thing of, like, you're not allowed to jerk off to porn. Like, blow me, all right? Fuck you. Fuck off, okay? If you're not allowed to watch porn, you're not allowed to be free. Let's just be honest. Let's get that out of the way. If you're not allowed to watch porn, you're not free. You're not a free person. Okay? I'm just saying that.
And it's compared to the spiritual intimacy of sharing your body with someone you love. They're incompatible.
Well, raining trees. Do you
not
think
in this month? Oh, yeah, you're right. Stop. Yield.
Your preferences here might be, like, specific to you? I do despise the arrogance of people who because they only want to their soulmate or whatever, think that means it's best for everyone. I personally think that like non-monogamy is the default state of humans, and our adherence to monogamy is socially destructive. But I'm still okay with you motherfuckers doing what makes you happy.
Socially destructive. Interesting. You would say it's socially destructive.
Than people saddling around and
Wait, what is this? Can Jews celebrate Halloween? Wait, what the fuck is this? But why is it not selfish of her if she wants to maximize her own pleasure and undermine mine? It is! You're both acting selfishly. The way you ought to act. You should look out for yourself. And if you both of your selfishness happen to coincide in a perfect unity where you're both able to maximize your selfishness while also being in a relationship, you know what we call that? We call that a good relationship. That's what that's called. All right, when I can be selfish and look out for my well-being, and then you being selfish, looking out for your own well-being, works, and we just fit. That's a good relationship, right? In that regard, right? Yeah. That is pretty selfish to be able to do that. But that's how we operate. We ought to be selfish to a certain degree, of course. Like 100%, because nobody else is going to look out for you. Nobody else, we shouldn't expect other people to look out for you, right? We should be expected to look out for ourselves because nobody else is going to do it, right? So you have to do it. So you do it. And that's the philosophy that I run with when it comes to the world, right? You got to look out for yourself. Now, of course, to a certain degree, we shouldn't scam people, we shouldn't rob people, we shouldn't, whatever. We shouldn't kill people for our own gain. Shit like this, of course, we got guidelines, but in general, you should look out for yourself, especially when it comes to a relationship. Something that you have no moral obligation to the other person to look out for yourself. Make sure you set your boundaries that make you happy. Don't compromise on any boundaries that you think are bad or whatever. Ultimately, you set the relationship that you're in. Well, that relationship requires sacrifices. You can't always self-maximize. I know you can't always self-maximize. I'm not saying that you always have to self-maximize, but ultimately, you would both be being selfish in that regard. You would 100% be. And no, you shouldn't sacrifice on a bunch of shit. Like, that's such an open-ended way of saying, relationships are about sacrifice. Not on your boundaries, not on the shit that you care a lot about. No, f*** that shit. Absolutely not. Vaush is a Viking warlord descendant. Of course, monogamy is the devil for him. True.
Is this? Let's liberate the language we use in baseball.
Agreed. So we just can't make blanket statements.
Replace bullpen with arm barn.
This is this shit is really cringe from PETA. Like, this shit is unbelievably cringe from PETA. I'm not gonna defend this. This shit is just. I'm sorry. This shit ain't it. He later got asked the same question by Dylan about monogamy and gave the same answer as he did previously.
What is your thoughts on monogamy?
Oh no. Oh no, I
Not
had
this
such
shit.
a problem with this. Me and Vaush can fight about it.
Wait, okay, do you know what my take is?
Unless you don't want to.
Is like selfish.
No. Do you know what my take is?
No, I
Yeah,
don't. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
I argued that while people should be free to choose fairly whether they want to be monogamous or non-monogamous, we should recognize that the principle behind monogamy, which is the idea that there should be some kind of sexual exclusivity, but not exclusivity around all the other things people do with each other, like having friends or whatever else, that is an arbitrary line that we've produced as a product of insecurity. But the
the arbitrary argument.
follow-up to that is that everyone experiences insecurity, whether you're monogamous or non-monogamous. It's just one of those things that changes and mitigates our behavior. Same as fear. Why do people behave more cautiously when they're near the side of a road or when they're driving at high speeds? Fear causes us to do it. But that doesn't mean that it's bad or wrong. We should recognize, though, that it is ultimately a rationale which is derivative of like base social instincts that we have. So with regards to monogamy, I do think it derives often from insecurity. Why do you want that exclusivity? You're insecure about your partner liking other people more, or you feel entitled to their body. But those are feelings we all have, and I think it's a legit choice that people should be free to.
So in the case of feeling entitled to your body, would that be an insecurity though? So let's run with that. You feel entitled to the person who's agreed to be your partner's body, and in exchange, they get exclusivity to your body. Is that insecure necessarily, intrinsically? Is it like we could run with the idea, what if you want to practice having sex consistently with one partner, and they with you, and you experience that process together? Is that intrinsically insecure? The issue here is why he can't extend this to exclusivity with those he's romantically in love with, and argue against merely open relations. This extends to your partner can well, this extends to your partner can do whatever the fuck they want, right? That's what this kind of extends to. Because it is arbitrary because he's making appeals to arbitration. It is arbitrary why I don't want, let's say I have a boundary where I don't want my girlfriend to, I don't know, need to have parties every week and be super extroverted and shit like that. Does that mean it stems from insecurity? Maybe I just don't want to have parties around consistently, right? Like, I think his argument is in that other sense.
To enjoy if they think
that's not insecurity. I don't think it's insecurity. I don't think either one of these things. By this definition, every single agreement is just insecurity, right? And I don't think that's the case. And he is trying to unmorally load insecurity the same way I did with like possessiveness, but I just don't think it works here. I think you could be a secure person. Like, what does insecurity mean in this context, right? Because usually insecurity means that you do not feel as though you have worth or as much worth as you would like to believe that you have, right? Or is that you would want or to show or to have other people believe that you have. That's usually what insecurity at least means to when I hear it. And if that's the case, I don't know how you can get to this position.
I just want people to be forthcoming about that info because, like, you know, there are frat dudes or whatever who are like, yeah, I don't want my girl talking to any other guys, like talking to, you know? And you'll be like, that sounds pretty insecure. And they'll be like, no, I just don't think the girls should be doing that when they're in relationships. And it's like, okay, you have to know that's a decision born in insecurity, right? Not as like more insecurity than the standard monogamy, but like fundamentally it comes from the same basic feelings. That frat dude is feeling the same thing that monogamous people feel when they think about their partners sleeping with other people.
I mean, the thing is with
the issue that you could have is that the negative utility that would bring upon the individual that would adhere to the frat dude's ideology would be too great. But what he's trying to reference is the underlying idea, but the underlying idea is informed by the utility generated from the action itself. So I don't really know where he's, or it could be. Sorry, that's not that it always is, because maybe even I could agree with him. It might be possible that most of the case this is this situation. The problem is when you make the claim that it always is. That's the issues when you make the claim that it always is.
That's right. Is I found that I was in a committed relationship for like 3 years, and then we broke up, right? And so after that, you know, I do the thing which most people my age would do, and you know, I start sleeping around, and it was like,
yeah, Vaush don't like cheating. Just stop being. Well, Vaush would just say there's no such thing as cheating unless you're insecure. It is impossible to cheat unless you're insecure. Would be his argument, because any cheating would be based off of the premise that like having sex with, flirting, or being romantic with another partner is bad in the first place. So that would be his argument, is to even have a concept of cheating in regards to the relationship would be insecure, which is just really weird.
Nice sexually, but afterwards it would not feel too good. It wasn't nice to have sex with somebody and then they just stand up and then they just leave your apartment and you don't talk about it afterwards and there's nothing there. It felt very empty on an emotional level. And then once I developed another relationship with my current partner, right, then that feeling that I had with sexual intercourse before was back. And sex like has like certain like chemical compounds that make you like grow like pretty attached to people, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, it isn't just a product
Wait,
of
hold on. I'm taking this seriously, so hold on, because these are non sequiturs. For the first one, like playing skee ball with people is fun, but if a person just played skee ball with me and then after we were done they just like left, I would think like, oh, that was a pretty hollow experience. What you're talking about there is the general desire to do intimate things with people that you have connections to. That's universal. You can have
like exchanging
So
fluids
hold
wait,
wait. So
Jesus Christ. This fucking shoe, dude. Jesus Christ. Shoe comes in with the steel chair. Fluids? Exchanging fluids?
hold on, wait. Let's not resort to like
balling maybe.
Let's not resort to arguments from intuition here, okay? So what you're talking about is things are made better when you have close feelings to the people that you're doing them with, which I will agree with generally, whether it comes to sex or other things. But I don't think that speaks to my point, which is that insecurity is the driving social
So no, if he agrees with this, you can take it a step further. Doing certain activities with an individual that you have a close, intimate relationship with is important to you, right? And how do you define somebody who is close to you? Maybe you could define this as somebody who you believe is somebody that can find all of their gratification and satisfaction with you. Why would you ultimately want that to be the case? Might be because you think that like you are capable of providing that for another person, and that another person should be able to value that in you, and that you should go through that experience, that learning experience, through sexual activity or romantic activity together. That's what you ultimately want. That's the goal that you're looking for, because you believe that you can provide that. Therefore, I don't think it's coming from insecurity. I think that's just coming from a desire for you to want to maximize your happiness with another person that sees that situation in the same light. I don't think that's insecurity. I think that's just you saying you are capable of you believe you are capable of providing sexual satisfaction to somebody over in a long period of time, and you wish to undergo the process of developing and maturing sexually, meaning like, I don't know, going through the process of intimate activities or whatever together over a long period of time. There's nothing wrong with that, I think. He would argue if you think you are capable, then you wouldn't need to put explicit restrictions there. Well, the explicit restriction is to add the thing that he already agreed, which is that emphasis, that the extra oomph. And that extra oomph, the reason why you might need exclusivity there would be because you want that individual, as you are capable of being able to provide for the you want that individual to be able to get all of the sexual satisfaction from you, so that way you guys can share that intimate feeling consistently together. There's no reason why that couldn't be the case. Right? I don't know. That's my opinion.
regulator that influences our feelings on this. But I don't.
Okay.
This isn't like a moral
See, I've
statement.
heard before.
Can I ask a question, Vaush? Wait, sorry, I want to ask you, Vaush. Okay, let's say, do you think that insecurity is justified or understandable or serves a purpose in some way?
100% yes, absolutely I do.
Okay, so then what's the problem with it?
I don't know. Again, like biologically, the reason why we are more cautious in situations that where a misstep could lead to our death is fear. People who don't experience fear, like people who have parts of their brain.
So
that
then,
don't-
what does he mean by insecurity? Then what does he mean that we're like afraid? So he's appealing to fear. We are afraid that somebody might find somebody more satisfied with our sexual interactions. People are upset if their friends watch a new movie with somebody besides them. It's not insecurity; it's a loss of common experience. That's well. So the argument then would be that like. You could watch the movie again back with them, and then it would be second time. So I think you could make that argument not an out. But I understand the spirit behind what you're saying, and I agree with it. That common experience that you share with the person, I think is important. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and not because he's trying to make the argument that there is nothing wrong with it. It's just stemming from a fear. I think boiling everything down in that way is just kind of bizarre. I think it's brought out from like not getting a certain experience that you would otherwise want, right? So Silastra, thank you for the primer. I appreciate that.
like people who have that condition. And there have been studies on this. Those people can behave recklessly in situations where we would be more cautious.
It's highly
So
reductive
fear
and it
makes
assumes a
us
lot.
cautious,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
caution
I would
can be a
put it
good
that way.
thing. Normally, when we say, "Hey, you're being fearful," you're a coward. It's an insult. But in reality, fear is a healthy mechanism that regulates our behavior. The real
Fight or
insult
fight
is
shit.
right. You're being too fearful. That's the real insult. I don't think a person is being too insecure if they're monogamous, but I still think it's rooted in insecurity, which is something we should be aware of because it can make us more introspective.
Well, like some people think that like what
So then I would love to hear his take on boundaries. Why is it okay, or where is it stemming from? Well, because he would make the argument he's not saying that it's not okay or whatever. He's just trying to make the argument of where like this idea is stemming from. I guess I disagree with the premise. I disagree that it has to come from insecurity. While it is necessary that you do have some underlying emotion that gets invoked for this, I think it could be an invocation of like a strong desire to want to experience all of these experiences with this partner for the rest of your life, right? That from here and forward, all of these sexual experiences that you want to carry out or what have you be incurred together. Hey, and it also assumes that your other partner would be more more satisfied had you opened that up. I don't know. He's basically using the Aristotelian golden memes. I don't know what that is. But also saying bravery stems from foolhardiness, like don't use the vice to explain the proper usage. Sure. I don't know. That's how I feel. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe he's right. Maybe I'm just stopping too early on my definition and like the logical extension is his.